Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video, and in this video we're going to try and work out when on earth Bray Wyatt is going to return to WWE. And I say that with a bit of a chuckle because it's kind of like asking how long is a piece of string. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes or what's gone on behind the scenes. Bray Wyatt could be ready to return to WWE right now. They just haven't found the right time and place to return him. But all we know till now is Bray Wyatt has been sidelined from WWE because he's dealing with a physical issue. And it must have been pretty mega because he missed WrestleMania. Of course, this all depends on what the storyline is moving forward. Are they going to continue this Bobby Lashley angle? What is going to go on with Alexa Bliss and Uncle Howdy? There's so many questions. We could talk about those till the cows come home. But what we know is, theoretically, if Bray's ready, which we don't know whether he is or he isn't, of course WWE are going to be keeping Bray Wyatt's return close to their chest, theoretically, he could show up on this week's episode of SmackDown. He really could. He could show up on next week's Raw. He could show up before Night of Champions, at Night of Champions, at Money in the Bank. We might have to wait until SummerSlam. I think when he turns up, when he finally returns, it will be a shock and completely out of nowhere, and we'll probably have our mouths wide open and we'll be in shock. And that's just the way that WWE want to play it. And that is why I was pretty confident, and I predicted in a few videos way back when, that I didn't think Bray Wyatt would be part of the WWE draft, because Bray Wyatt's return would kind of overshadow that, and vice versa as well. In some ways, the draft might overshadow the Bray Wyatt return as well. There's also been some major changes in WWE. A new championship reveal in the WWE World Heavyweight title, a new tournament announced, and on time of recording this video, of course, Seth Rollins has won from the Raw side, so we're waiting on the SmackDown victor, and that could be very telling in terms of what happens at Night of Champions, whether Bray could potentially be involved. Imagine if Bobby Lashley wins the SmackDown tournament, goes on and faces Seth Rollins. Well, Bray and Seth Rollins have history, and of course there was this storyline that we got teased leading up to WrestleMania between Bobby and Bray. So does Bray come back to cost Bobby? We don't know at the moment who's going to be in that final, and we don't know whether they're going to resume that Bobby Lashley angle. What's going to happen with Alexa Bliss if Bray returns to SmackDown? Is Alexa Bliss going to get drafted to SmackDown? There's a lot of questions that are up in the air. Do you think WWE had the plan of returning The Fiend, bringing back him? Because if you go a little bit back to that dark kind of other side of the Firefly Funhouse scene that we saw, Bray said that he had this secret. And you can't ignore that, because that was very similar, very parallel to the first time, of course, we got the Fiend reveal within the Firefly Funhouse. We saw the Jack in the Box. There's all these connections with Alexa Bliss, who we assume was the one playing with the Undertaker action figures. We haven't seen Alexa Bliss since, maybe because, of course, those two are connected and one can't return without the other. Was that the plan all along? Was it for the return of him? Now, if that is the return, and that was supposed to be at WrestleMania, I can think of a really, really fitting place for Bray Wyatt to return. We'll get onto that in a moment. Now, I don't think he'll return at Night of Champions. If he does, I wouldn't mind him going after Seth Rollins and resuming that feud that they had way back when. So we can't rule off that. We can't rule out Bobby Lashley. But we can't also rule out the fact that WWE might want to completely start afresh. WWE have hired a completely new writer for the Bray Wyatt storylines. So they might want to just completely start from scratch. And we've got to respect that if that is where they want to go. I do think we're going to see the return of Uncle Howdy. I do think we're going to see some continuation with Alexa Bliss. I personally, as a fan, want to see it play out this way. I can't see, if Bray Wyatt hasn't returned up until Money in the Bank, I can't see them returning Bray Wyatt in the UK. I just think it's a bit unlikely. I'd love it if it happens, because I'm going to be there in the O2 Arena in July at Money in the Bank. So of course, from a selfish perspective, I'd love to see him there. But I think the spotlight is going to be on the champions and the champions only on the men's and women's side. And I think there's going to be some wildcard picks. Personally, I'd love to see LA Knight win the Money in the Bank. I think he'd be the perfect antagonist for the champion that there's going to be. But assuming we get a new winner from both the women's and men's side at the Money in the Bank. They're not going to want to overshadow that. So again, I don't think it would be Bray Wyatt returning at Money in the Bank. But how about you save Bray Wyatt's return for SummerSlam? I can't think of a more fitting place if the plan is to bring back him or a new monster. We don't know the storyline, so we can't predict that. We don't know what's going to happen when things pick back up. But if they're there to return The Fiend, I can't think of a better place than SummerSlam. The Fiend's debut match, of course, against Finn Balor in 2019. How can we forget that? That epic, eerie entrance, the perfect presentation of The Fiend at that point. Of course, Bray Wyatt officially had his first PLE as Bray Wyatt against Kane back in 2013. Roman Reigns attacked Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam 2020. I don't think that's been forgotten. So you can't ignore the connections that Bray Wyatt has with SummerSlam. It'd be a great place, one of the top shows, arguably probably the second top show to WrestleMania. Do you know what I really like the idea of? WWE sort of teasing us via these cryptic videos, these cryptic messages, much like they did in the lead up to the Bray Wyatt return with, of course, the White Rabbit Trail. How much fun was that? And they could do that in the lead up to Bray Wyatt's return if it were to be at SummerSlam. I think it's August the 5th, SummerSlam this year, so you could do that after Money in the Bank throughout the whole of July. We kind of know it's Bray, but we don't know what's coming. We don't know what this secret was. We don't know what the plan was for WrestleMania. If they continue that, they could well do that in the lead up to SummerSlam. You could do exactly what was supposed to play out at Mania. But if we get Bray back, we've just got to appreciate him. And we've got to give him a chance as well. He has been panned, especially by non-Bray Wyatt fans. And I don't really care when things get panned from non-Bray Wyatt fans, because why would you talk about someone in a negative way? You clearly think about them. That is the case. And so, you can kind of silence a few of those haters as well by sort of getting things right the second time round. And I say that because I don't believe that the Bray Wyatt return to this point has lived up to the expectation that we wanted it to. We can't really be happy with the fact that we haven't even seen Bray at WrestleMania. So I want him to hit the ground running, deliver like we know he can. Think back to Bray Wyatt, the cult leader, and that feud he had with John Cena. That was epic, wasn't it? With the children's choir, the feuds that the Wyatt family had with the Brothers of Destruction as well. I mean, I was there on November the 9th, 2015, when the Brothers of Destruction reunited against the Wyatt family and had this face-off. It was epic. Bray Wyatt has given us so many memorable moments, and I think people forget about who that blooming man is, who that creative genius is. As always, thank you so much for watching the video. It'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. And of course, get down in the comments section, share your thoughts and opinions, your theories. When do you think Bray Wyatt's coming back? When would you like to see him coming back? Obviously, we'd like to see him back as soon as possible, but that's another story. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.